starting Valentine's Day 2025 with a very cute, sweet design from the mind of the legendary Mr. TAGRO himself. It is LOV01, Naughty Heart, with a kit of Stat Cleanse, Hyper Thunder, Field Repair, Wheeled Legs, and the leg ability of Adapter, which changes all terrain matches to A rank not already at A rank or S rank. Now, Mr. TAGRO already knows how to make a banger design in any form of capacity, ranging from archangels to biblically accurate angels to Yarus to even now pink heart chocolate designs as well. It's certainly no slouch to show that Naughty Heart here will bring a lot of very good skills and an equally as adorable design to the field, with a very unique faceplate as well with the LCD eyes, which you don't see on a lot of models, being completely honest. Stat Cleanse on the head part is a healing attribute skill that, when activated, will remove any negative ailments currently applied to herself or any allies across the team, and officially make them also immune to negative ailments up to a certain number of hits, which typically is between 1 and 2, before it needs to be reapplied again. But this means that if the enemy is using, say, Hyper Thunder, Deathlocks, Panic, or Metaphor Seal, or something similar, this is a very good way to serve as life insurance to ensure that you aren't going to get cut short or blocked with whatever kind of strategy you're looking for, because they use an ailment against you to throw a wrench in your works. Plus, with a base heat stat of over 1217, this guarantees that Naughty Heart is absolutely getting to the line first to fire this thing off. Most Stat Cleanse heads tend to sit just shy of over 1,000 or just thereabout, so being completely honest, this might just be the new fastest Stat Cleanse head currently now available in the game, and if it's not, it's pretty darn close. Right Arm of Hyper Thunder, and Naughty Heart's only actual form of combat as far as her kit is concerned, is an ailment type skill that, upon attacking the enemy, will stop them dead in their tracks like the absolute heartthrob that she is, and paralyze them by freezing them where they stand with a stop symptom. While stopped, the enemy is still able to defend against enemy attacks, but it does also mean that it does buy you a few extra seconds of time to recoup or regroup your strategy if you find things turning around against you in the heat of battle. Now, because this is the hyper version of Thunder though, it does also mean it has a much higher base power, as you see at that 17.3, and it also packs passive pierce damage, which the standard Thunder does not, at the cost that you also cannot dodge or defend while in cooldown. So a little bit of caution is advised if you plan to use this much more aggressive form of Thunder, but when it comes to the cost of being able to stop enemies, as long as you have Naughty Heart covered, this can be very relatively easily skirted. Field Repair on the left arm is another healing skill that Naughty Heart brings to the table, and simply put, while most other healing skills tend to focus on the healing ability and efficacy tied to the healing mastery of the metal, Field Control does not. Instead, Field Control will give you an amount of healing back relative to the leg's terrain mastery on the terrain that it's fighting on. So if you're fighting on a terrain at, say, A rank or better, you're going to get some pretty good healing back across all parts. Not a specific part, but all parts. Whereas if you're fighting on a terrain at, say, B rank or worse, probably not anything really to write home about. Plus, with a base heat of 927, she's going to be able to fire this off relatively easily for her allies as healthy as possible. Really, really easy. Wheeled Legs mean that she's going to have basically solid coverage across a handful of terrains at best, whereas she's only going to have 1 or 2 at best that she's on A rank or S rank on, but that is also not including Adapter, which she brings to the Adapter, as listed, changes all terrain ranks not currently at A or S rank already into A rank across the board, and basically lets her behave much like a float leg. So those base stats that you see here at a base speed of 988, she's gonna keep that across all terrains, and nothing is going to stop her. The same can be said for her base evade at 1177, both of which are really, really good numbers for base speed and high chance of dodging grazing. A melee resist to 1349 is really good, as this means she can hold her own up close and personal fairly well, And a shoot resist at 1086, almost 1100 isn't too shabby either. And in the armor department, she's actually a lot stronger than she looks too, with a head armor of almost 3600, arms at just almost 3800 each, and legs at just over 4000. A lot of her armor is definitely based on her arms, which is definitely where you want to keep it to stay as healthy as possible. And with the relatively solid resist stats that she brings to the table, it's going to be pretty tough to bring this heartthrob down when the fight says go. All this being said, though, as a pure set score, I honestly have to rate her a very well-rounded 7 out of 10 across the board. She's fairly synergetic as kind of an auxiliary combat healing unit more than an actual dedicated fighter on the field, but still has a level of combat enough that she can hold her own. Between stat cleanse and field repair, she does bring a lot of skills to the table, such as the ability to negate and cleanse negative ailments, and the ability of restoring a lot of HP to all parts at once on the allied target. Plus, with the leg ability of Adapter giving her A rank on all terrains anyway, this means you're going to be getting a pretty solid amount of HP back to all parts when she does fire this off. So that means if nothing breaks, she's going to do a pretty good job keeping her allies, or herself, relatively healthy. And again, with Wheeled Legs and Adapter means you can use her basically anywhere and fresh out of the box with no real drawback or penalty or even setup required to use her, and she can fit on most teams pretty synergetically with what she brings to the table. As mixed parts, I do have to rate her notably higher at an 8.5 out of 10. Given that you can most certainly use her fresh from the box with no real setup like I said, mixing a lot of these parts up is where you're going to be getting a lot, and I mean a lot, of your overall efficacy and mileage with what she brings. Hyper Thunder, and even if it is a heavy part, is still something you can use pretty solidly. And even if Field Repair is heavy, it's still a very solid skill you could fit anywhere very easily. An extremely fast stat cleanse head speaks for itself, especially a non-heavy one at that. And Wheeled Legs with Adapter, I can't emphasize it enough, but also with very solid base stats and a heavy support of 2, means you can use those legs basically anywhere with no real drawback, penalty, or even setup required. And the heavy support is really good as well that you can fit in your teams very easily. The only real drawback I see here with Naughty Heart is the fact that because she is double heavy, he might fall under the gravity punish with the two or more heavy part modifier. So a little caution is advised if you plan to use her in that respect.